Alrighty, g'day guys. Welcome to StatChat Sports. You are here for the mid-season review. On the call, you've got myself, Josh, BT, Steve, and Tazza. And what we're doing in this episode is looking back at the first half of the AFL season, but more importantly, holding ourselves to account. Tazza, Steve, BT, we have made some terrible calls on this show. We've made a couple of good ones, but generally some terrible calls. And what we're doing today is we're going back, we're looking at them in detail, and we're doing our pretty regular segment, hits, misses, and hold fires, where we've done well, where we've done poorly, and where we need to wait a little bit longer just to see if our call actually was shit or not. So it's going to be a big episode. Make sure you strap in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you're liking the content that we're putting out here at StatChat Sports. But the way we're going to start off this mid-season review is we're going to hand over to Professor Tazza, who's been giving out his grades on this channel all year, and it's time for your mid-season grades. Professor Tazza, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Josh. All right. There's been a little bit of change throughout the last few weeks. Over the last month, we've seen a few fluctuations with form, namely Melbourne. There's a few teams that we didn't see probably performing the way they would, e.g. Collingwood, but we're going to start at the bottom end. The bottom feeders. We've got three of them. We've got West Coast. When you're 1-13, yes, injuries taking their toll, you get an F. No two ways about it.
They've been shit. It is what it is.
Yeah, they have. And look, injuries are there, COVID's there, but I can't give them anything other than an F. North Melbourne, no promise. The promise was there. I've said the same thing over and over again. They just can't figure it out. David Noble's got to be on the chopping block soon. There's an F there. And Essendon, the last month has been pretty underwhelming. The win against St Kilda only papers over the cracks for me. I think they're 3-10 at the moment. 3 wins for a team that made finals last year is just not good enough. I don't care which way you twist it. It's an F for me.
Steve, out of those 4 teams, who do you think has been the worst? Like, who has clearly deserved their F well and truly?
North.
Yeah.
North for me.
It's either North or West Coast, really. I mean, Essendon have at least won some games, but you can't use that argument for Eagles or North Melbourne, can you?
Essendon's F is relative to last year, whereas North is relative to the promise that that was shown in the young kids, and there's just been nothing there for me.
And they deserve the F because our pre-season video on North Melbourne's our highest viewed video.
Oh my goodness!
They come out and give us this shit for the season.
You had them.
They could have had a new member out of me.
Yeah, no, they've been nothing short of abysmal for me. And all this talk about Noble's safe, he's not. He can't be.
Definitely not. That controversy as well coming out about yelling at the players. I mean, that stuff doesn't come out if you've got the buy-in of the group. So, yeah, alarm bells at North Melbourne. 3 teams well deserving of an F. Tazza on the money. I like it.
All right. We've got 3 teams with a D grade this time around. We've got Adelaide, 4 wins out of 13, 1 win in their last 7. For me, that's just not good enough. They're in a rebuilding phase. I get that. It's going to be tough times, but 1 win in 7. It wasn't quite enough for an F, given what they've what their expectations are, but still, it's a D for me. GWS get a D. Leon Cameron's got the sack. Spike McVeigh's in the chair. There's been a bit of a turnaround. There's been a turnaround in form. The results aren't quite there, but I mean, given their ladder position and relative to expectations, it's a D. And my boys, Port Adelaide, I can't give them a C. They're not sitting in the 8. The form's there, kind of, but given the ladder position, it's a D. I mean, they could be there by the end of the season, but it's an uphill battle, and that's all they get from me for now.
Hey, Steve, am I the only one in thinking this? But I reckon that's harsh on Adelaide. Just my personal opinion, but we did not have high grades on the Crows coming into the year, and they've had a couple of good scalps.
No, I don't think it's harsh, to be honest. Like, yes, we weren't expecting a lot from them, but like we've seen patches for them. It ebbs and flows a little bit. So yeah, like Tazza said, 1 win in 7. You know, based off of a couple of close games that they've had and a couple of wins, you'd probably expect a little bit more from them than 1 and 7 out of the last 8. So no, I think that's about spelled on.
Yeah. For me, you isolate 4 and 13, it's okay. But the 1 and 7 is what I can't give that a C. That's basically giving them a pass mark. I just don't think that's enough.
Yeah, okay. I'm sort of going relative to expectations. You know, I think the Crows are about where I thought I'm probably ahead of where I thought they would be. The other team I'm surprised you didn't give a D was the Bulldogs, because I reckon their first half of the year, BT, you could probably attest to this, they wouldn't be happy with.
Yeah, they've been pretty disappointing. Well, they're sitting outside the 8 now. So,
Yeah.
And I think we had them finishing second.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I can see. Obviously, I don't know. Don't know where Taz has got him. I'm assuming he's got him next, because if he doesn't, then he's going to cop shit if he has him higher than a C.
Oh, yeah.
But a C maybe. I would more lean towards a D with you as well, Josh. I think just they've been just way too disappointing.
Anyway, Taz, get into the C's for us, mate. Where are you at?
All right. We got 5 C's this time around. Yes, the Bulldogs are at a C. Really, they're over 500. They're 7 and 6. We'll probably once these fixtures of next week, of this coming week, have been done, will likely find themselves in the 8, considering one of Saints and Sydney are going to lose. They'll drop out. The Bulldogs will come in, provided they beat Hawthorn, which would odds on probably will.
You should happen. Yeah.
Should happen. Alongside that, I do have Hawthorn as a C as well. Relative to expectation, have been quite good. Have lost some close games against good opposition. They are getting battered in games from time to time, but this is where I think Hawthorn and Adelaide for me were quite similar. Hawthorn have scraped a win or 2 more. Don't quote me. I think it's maybe another extra win, but I think they have less on that squad, and a completely new coach in Sam Mitchell. And I think
same
got
amount of
more
wins.
out of that. Sorry,
Same amount of wins they are.
same amount.
Adelaide.
But
they're a
think
lot better
they've shown
team.
more.
Mm.
Yeah, I think they've shown more, and for me, they get a C through that. I got St Kilda as a C. It's a pass
Interesting.
mark. It's a pass mark for me. Haven't done much more than that. They're sitting on the bubble of the 8th spot at the moment. There is a log jam for that. I think from 6th to 8th, or maybe 5th. It's they're all on the same points. So for me, I think they'll, like I said at the end of this round, I think Sydney win, and St Kilda find themselves out of the 8. It's improvement on last season, so they've got a C for me there. Next up, I've got Sydney.
Mhm.
A lot of people had them as a top 4 contender, possibly. They could push top 4. Once again, they find themselves in that log jam. And, I mean, they've had a couple of good wins against Richmond and Melbourne. I don't think they've done enough for a B. The C seems right to me. And the last C is Richmond. Won 6 out of the last 7. The draw hasn't been super difficult, but they're getting the wins. 6 out of 7 in anyone's book is pretty good. And once again, they're in that little log jam. The next month is going to be huge for all these 3 teams to really see where they are. But for now, they all get a C for me.
It's hard to argue with that. Saints are the interesting one, BT. I think their last 2 weeks have been really poor. Yeah, before that, when they were heading into the bye, probably could have easily had them at a B. So yeah, no, they're an interesting team to watch, and there's not many final spots left for teams in that mix.
Are you sure you want to be asking me about St Kilda, mate? Probably not the right
I
person.
love asking you about St Kilda.
They've definitely. I stand my ground there. A boring list. They're still a boring list. other than outside of Max King, there's nothing exciting there to watch. Jack Steele back. It's Jack Steele, Brad Crouch, and who else plays in that midfield? Gresham.
What about Jack Sinclair and Callum Wilkie off the half-back, mate? They've been just lime.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. They've been definitely Sinclair. He's exciting to watch. I did watch that game on the weekend, and he's cleaning up the ball every round. I just can't see them being as good as these other teams around them, to be honest with you. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not a fan of St Kilda. I just think these other teams, like a Richmond, I think it was. I would argue Richmond could have been a B, to be honest with you.
Yeah, their last.
Because we had them
really
at
good
ninth, I think. 9th or 10th we did during the preseason. So I think they could be pushing top 4, Richmond, where I don't think St Kilda will.
Steve, the question I'd have for you is, who's a more dangerous team to come up against in September? St Kilda, Richmond, or Sydney?
Oh, it's got to be Richmond, doesn't it? I mean,
easily.
Yeah,
I think so.
Based off of the last 5 years, it's hard to argue against it. Richmond, no doubt.
Yeah, pretty good picks, Tazza. I like the C's. What do you got for your B's?
Yeah, for the record, Richmond were very close to a B for me, so I do agree with that there. All right, 5 more Bs. There's one little controversial one in here. Yeah, look, a couple of these are relative to expectation and not ladder position, but all right. I'm going to leave the controversial one till last, just for dramatic effect. But Collingwood, I've given a B. They're the form team of the competition for me. They've, out of those 4 games that they've won in a row, they've beaten 3 top 4 teams: Carlton, Freo, and Melbourne. So, I mean, you can't give them an A considering they're sitting outside the 8. But on form, I think a B is quite deserved. Gold Coast sneak in with a B.
Yep, love that.
We've talked about them previously. Relative to expectation, they're shattering what we thought was their ceiling for the season. And I mean, doing it without Ben King for me is a pretty big deal.
Huge.
They're getting it done with Mabior Chol and Levi Casbourne, and I don't think anyone saw that happening. Geelong at a B for me. They're on a 4-game winning streak too. So, I mean, the form's there. It hasn't probably been the Geelong that we've been used to. I think a few of us predicted a bit of a decline this season.
Yeah.
But there they are. I'm pretty sure they're sitting in 4th or 5th at the moment, level with Carlton. So they're ticking along, and going with Carlton, they are a B. Once again, I think I've given them, I'm not sure if I've given them Bs all season, but I'm not sure if they've really scraped together for an A. Just as of yet, they've been there, but not really there. But 9 and 4 for the Blues. Blues supporters would have taken that at the start of the season for sure.
Oh yeah.
There's a defensive injury curse that looms there. That's probably going to be their biggest enemy for the next month or so. With no Wiedering, I mean, Sam Durden was parachuted in, and I can't remember what he did, but he was subbed out in his debut.
Marchbank as well.
Marchbank, yeah, the game before. They're really hurting down back there, and I mean, I think the game against Richmond really showed that. Richmond are a good team, but the flaws were exposed. I have one more team at a B, and it's Melbourne. Your team, Steve.
I think that's fair.
They've dropped the A 3 games in a row. They've lost. Just a fatal flaw for me has just been exposed with no Stephen May. I'm not sure. It's a tiny little weakness, but it's just shown how one player can really disrupt that system for me. And I'm not counting them out of the premiership. You can't. It's Melbourne. They'll put it back together, and they'll probably be an A next time around. But 3 losses on the trot, I can't give that an A based on form.
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with most of those. Like the dip for Melbourne there, and do like your B calls for Collingwood and Gold Coast Suns exceeding expectations. Interesting one that I want to talk about is Carlton. As you mentioned, they've been up and down. The injury curse has hit them. Question on notice or without notice for Steve and BT. Do you see Carlton missing the finals, given how bad this injury bug is for them down back?
I think they've got not the easiest run either coming up. So I think they're good enough. They've got the good enough players there to get them through. But I can't see them winning a final though. I can't. I think they're going to be. One result could get them out of the finals. One result could get them in the top 6. It's that close, and I think it's going to be that close for the rest of the season. So, yeah, I think they're better than a St Kilda, but they get one bad game, and they're right down there. So it's I can't pick it. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, I agree. It's too close up there to make that call. Like, yeah, you know, they're one loss. Or the teams below them, should I say, are one win away from them being, you know, thrown into that sort of 7th or 8th discussion. So, yeah, it's too tight to call. You know, I think if they were to miss out, like it would literally be probably like a percentage or something that does it, maybe.
And they've got a bit of a lower percentage than everyone else.
Yeah.
They don't blow teams away.
That's true. I think for me, it's the return of Wiedering. It's the damage limitation before Wiedering comes back. It's really going to depend where they finish by the end of the season.
So by my math, I think there's 2 teams left with an A grade. Correct in saying that?
There are 2. Yes, there were 3 A's last time around. We now have 2. With the dropping off of Melbourne, we have Fremantle with the A. Back-to-back wins against Melbourne and Brisbane, the 2 fellow contenders for what we'd probably say is a top 2 spot now. I think Freo are well and truly in that conversation. They've shown that they can take it to Melbourne in Melbourne and beat Brisbane at home. I don't know if there's much more Freo have to prove after that. I think the question marks were there after losing to Gold Coast and Collingwood, but I think they've solved them with those 2 wins. And Brisbane, for me, they're flying way under the radar. They're my pick for the rest of the year. I think with that small injury list at the moment, I think they're going to go on a bit of a roll. I think they're going to beat Melbourne this week. And yeah, I think the league's theirs for the taking at the moment.
Quickfire answer starting with Steve. If these 2 teams finish in the top 2 with the home field advantage, do you see them not making the grand final? Yes or no?
I would say I would only see Fremantle not making a final just due to the fact that they're inexperienced in the matter.
BT?
Completely agree. I think Brisbane will overcome their previous finals horrors. So I think, yeah, I'm exact same. I don't think Fremantle will. Could be completely wrong.
Tazza?
No, I think if both get top 2, their chances of making the grand final, top 2 is absolutely crucial for these 2. I think Melbourne could probably travel a little bit better than the other 2, but if they're playing every game, including a preliminary at home, to me, they're both there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Fremantle might not be able to get it done if they do make the grand final. We'll touch on that later. But yeah, if they get home field advantage, they're getting there, I think. I think they're good enough to get it done. And same with Brisbane quite easily. So, yeah, nice grades from you, Tazza. Professor Tazza, he's done well for the mid-season review. If you've got any disagreements or qualms with the professor, make sure you take it up with him in the comments section below. Yes, all about those qualms, queries, and concerns. So hit us up in the comments below.